Doesn't seem happy.
That's not a happy Ben.
Not a happy Ben. Ben.
Jesus.
A damaging defeat. We got saved by Benjamin Sesko right at the end for Man United. What was it like at the stadium? Break it down.
Well, first of all, the fans are incredible because the support that the team had today from the stands, I thought was incredible, to be honest. Kept supporting them through the hard times, particularly in the second half when it looked a tiny bit better. But when West Ham scored that goal, it was like everyone was checking their phones. Everyone, you heard a whisper going around you, West Ham 1-0, West Ham 1-0. And I'll tell you what, I've never kind of felt like that in a stadium, but it was like really dreary atmosphere. Like a really dreary atmosphere. Everyone's like,
was it like
oh
a final
God.
day of the season kind of checking of the phones?
It felt like that a little bit, but it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? It was strange, but
funeral.
Like it towards the end of that game, when West Ham scored it, it literally just felt like a funeral. It was actually from the moment they scored their second goal. As soon as they scored their second goal, everyone's just constantly on their phones and people like, what the fuck is going on? And I think it actually sunk in with a lot of the fan base today, the reality of the situation, because I've been speaking to you a lot over the past couple of weeks, Sim, about the club not taking the threat of relegation seriously, the fans not taking the threat of relegation seriously. I mean, if you go within 3 points of West Ham, no matter how it finishes, but we were 3 points above West Ham at some point today. And I think that really struck a chord with everyone and being like, fuck, we're actually in it here. We're actually in a relegation battle. And I think that's the moment it really sunk into everyone.
How was, in terms of, so that was the atmosphere when West Ham scored, but in terms of in general, I mean, they sounded loud, the fans.
No, like I said credit to the Spurs fans because the support was there throughout, through the bad times. Obviously,
and at the end,
we got back in it. Massive boos, obviously. We lost and West Ham were winning at the final whistle. You know, there were major boos following Frank around the pitch, major boos to him, major boos at half time. But when the game was actually being played, the fans were supportive throughout.
Ben, you know the boos, was it mainly from the south stand or was it all parts of the stadium?
I mean, I was in the south stand, so I mean, it felt loud. Like, it felt really loud. So I couldn't tell if it was going around the whole stadium, but it felt probably like the loudest one that we've probably seen at the stadium.
Yeah. Oh, the end, I mean, we're watching on TV, but the boos seemed to go on for about two to 3 minutes. It seems to be like pretty.
Yeah, because
non-stop.
they were following Frank around. Frank came out onto the pitch, and then as soon as Frank went in, they actually clapped Radu Dragusin, who came over to the south stand.
Same as Burnley.
In terms of the game, you know, it's very similar to what we've seen in other games, except today we, you know, can obviously get the result like we did against City, turn it around, actually get a point. But for you, you know, how do you assess what you saw on the pitch?
Under the circumstances of the game, knowing what can ensue at the end if West Ham win, I'll tell you, that was the most abject, disgusting display that I've seen from the off. That first half, we got completely dominated in every facet of the pitch. Newcastle were toying with us in that first half. It was lucky to go 1-0 down at half time.
That's what you said.
And
yeah,
and even the start of the second half, I thought we came out slow and lethargic. And there was just one moment that clicked, and we started penning them in a little bit and starting and creating a bit of pressure. We scored the goal, and then as soon as we scored the goal, bang, Newcastle straight back on. It was like they were toying with us. They let us back in the game, just they hit us straight away. Like, we could not do. And then from that point on, I'd never felt like Spurs were going to get back in the game. It was literally a 10-minute period, wasn't it, that we were on top for?
Yeah,
I
pretty
think
much.
It was a disgusting performance. It really was disgusting.
Yeah, and that first half, as you know, I swear we've gotten lucky. Like some of these first halves, that we're not more than what. Like somehow we end these first halves only 1 or 2 down. Like there's going to be a first half where we end it 3 or 4 when we keep going the way we're going, because they had that offside. By the way, it was Joe Willock's forehead somehow was just offside. Like
they showed up the angle in the stadium, and I was like, oh my God, we are so lucky here. was crazy.
You know, another injury as well. Odebear could be a bad one. He looked like he twisted his knee. The injuries just keep mounting as well. I mean, with this injury crisis, what are we going to do with this injury crisis? It keeps mounting and mounting.
You look at it, right? You got Tottenham that have got players going down injured every week. You got Tottenham that have won 2 games now in their last 17 games in the Premier League. You got Tottenham who are 19th in the form table, I think, in the last 20 games. And then you've got West Ham who have won 3 and drawn 1, a credible draw against Manchester United, who are the form team in the league.
We're a minute away from getting a win, yeah.
A minute away from getting a win. You've got Leeds, the ability to go to Stamford Bridge and get a draw. They've got the ability to pull out points. And you've got Nottingham Forest with, you know, they're not doing great, but, you know, they've got Sean Dyche, a proper firefighter that has been there, done it, got the T-shirt in these kind of situations. And I'm looking at us. We're bang in trouble, people. We're the worst of the lot right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We are the worst of the lot. And that has got to be real worrying signs. I don't know where this next win is coming from.
That's what we said.
And if you're looking at the threat of relegation, it's never been bigger at this club till it is to this very day, probably since the 70s, since we went down. And this is back when, you know, we had Christian Gross and Klinsmann came in to save us. You know, we've never been as close as we are right now. We're so lucky Manchester United got that point, and we're not 3 points. I don't know what's happening with my football club, but this is so sad on every level, how far we've actually fallen. Like, I've never been in a stadium where people have been worried about the threat of relegation before. And this was everyone, like, it was like a funeral. It really was like a funeral at times today. And I've never seen people so worried before in the stands at Tottenham Hotspur. And that's how sad it's got.
Ben, we've got a 12-day gap coming up now before the next game.
Yeah.
And the next game is absolute murder. Do you think Spurs need to sack Frank and put a different manager in charge for the next game?
The thing is, though, I think they're between a rock and a hard place right now because, I mean, the easy thing would be to say sack Frank. He deserves the sack, obviously. But who do you turn to? Who do you turn to right now to come in and get us out of the situation that we're in?
But
can't think of an.
Is Frank the guy to do that, though?
I don't think Frank's the guy to do it, but I don't know who else is the guy to do it either.
So because when I asked Sim just said, it doesn't matter, just you can't carry on with this manager because you just said it. 2 wins in 17. Something has to change, otherwise. I think if Frank stays, he's going to take us down, and I've been saying it for a couple of weeks. I'm convinced he's going to take us down.
Who comes in?
Ben, whether it's the under-21s coach, whether it's a combination of Redknapp and Defoe as a team, whether it's Robbie. For me, I just think we need a change of mood, a change of coaching, a change of style. It just needs something fresh, almost like, you know, when you go into an exam last minute because you've revised everything the night before and you take a can of Red Bull to try and stay awake during the exam. We just need a can of Red Bull to come in. We just need a bit of Red Bull.
I've heard the stories. I've never actually done it, but I've heard the stories, yeah.
Yeah, so it was caffeine tablets and Red Bull. They used to be called Pro Plus. But we need someone that's just going to come in and just inject 3 wins. Someone that's just going to get 3 wins.
Can Ryan Mason do it? Because I only see Ryan Mason as the only viable candidate right now.
Whoever comes in...
Can Ryan Mason do it still?
I wouldn't give it to Ryan Mason. Who would you give it to?
There's no name.
Well, like I said, I'd give it to the under-21s coach, Burnett, or bring in Redknapp and bring in a younger person to work next to him, like... or give it Sheringham and Redknapp. Teddy and Redknapp, come in for 3 months.
Yeah.
Talk to the players. Speak to them the Tottenham way. Talk to them about your history and the things you've won. And
would you give it to Heitinga?
My concern with Heitinga is he was a disaster at Ajax as the manager, but
he had a good interim role, didn't he? Interim job before that.
I think
he was terrible with the youth as well.
But he's only coming in for a couple of months to save us from relegation.
Heitinga's here now and it hasn't changed, and he's here now.
Yeah, it's true.
Sim, sorry, Ben.
Stel, what about this?
Yeah, go
What
on.
about this? Back in the 90s, he came in and saved us from relegation. He's currently a manager out of work, and that's Jurgen Klinsmann.
I don't rate him as a manager, though.
Could he get us out of this shit, though? Could he get us
don't
just 3
think so.
wins? That's all we need.
We need a fighter. We need someone that's going to roll up their sleeves and fight. But someone who's
Did it for
going
us as a player.
But Ben, this could be redundant because Frank says, well, it's not redundant, but Frank says in his press conference, I'm convinced I'll still be in charge for the Arsenal game. I understand the question. I understand it's easy to point at me, but I also think it's never only the head coach, or the ownership, or the directors, or the players, or the staff. It's everyone. If you do something right, you build something that can last. He also said there are many managers before me who have lost their heads at this point, but it's important to stay calm and carry on and keep fighting.
Yeah, what he's not actually mentioning is that he's the worst of the lot. No one's done worse than him, and no one's been in this situation that he's been in.
And he loses every week.
And he loses every. This is the
loses
worst
every week.
form I think we've seen ever in the Premier League era. I think you're talking about a manager that is genuinely fighting relegation. We all joked about it last season, but it was never actually a genuine possibility. We were safe, like with months to go of the season. This year, you're looking at our fixtures. You're looking at how West Ham are doing, and you know all the situation I said before. This could run down to the wire, guys, if we carry on in the way that we're going.
Ben, he's going to get us relegated. I'm telling you, Frank is going to get us relegated. He's not the manager for this. I'm convinced. I don't understand what we're doing. Listen,
The thing is, still right. If we do what you do and put in the under-21 manager Wayne Burnett or whoever it is, yeah, and he comes in and we get absolutely battered in the first game, everyone's going to be calling for his head, saying, "Why are we putting this rookie in charge?"
But we're getting battered every game anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we're not getting battered. We're not getting battered 3-4-0, are we?
But we're losing every game.
We're losing every game. We're losing every game.
We should be 3-4-0. We're just getting a bit lucky. I guess. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're not.
You're right.
You two tell me. Ask this question then. Answer this question. Sorry. How do you stop the rot? How do you stop it?
I think the best and the easiest way to stop the rot right now is a change, of course.
There you go. Because that's what has to happen. What has to happen
A change
now is
does need to happen. I want a change to happen, but I just don't know who that guy to come in that can actually make the change.
That's Lange's job. That's Vinay's job. They get paid millions and millions of pounds to make to answer that question.
He should have been sacked after West Ham. This has been a long time coming. And now we've just dropped further and further and further, and it's getting scarier and scarier and scarier. We're sitting, I've never seen the stadium more empty than I saw it tonight. Like literally, since it's opened, I'm telling you, must have been the lowest capacity in the stadium since it's opened. It must have been. Like seriously, there was so many empty seats everywhere.
Aren't the board looking at that? Aren't the board looking at that?
Still, I got on the high street beforehand, and there was no one on the high street.
Yeah, Sim was
Nobody.
saying.
It was empty. It's crazy. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
They're going to freaking shut Chit King down. The business is dropping.
He says.
What about Chit King?
He was
We've got to
asked,
look after Chit King.
why aren't Spurs showing signs of attacking patterns of play? He says it's the injuries. I think they need to be massively taken into consideration. I haven't really said too much, but everyone can see the impact of things.
When Ange said that, he got blasted.
And Frank should get blasted as well.
Ange got
He
rinsed
should
for...
100.
Sorry, Ben.
Oh, is he gone?
How's he frozen?
What did you do to him? He's frozen.
Vinay's intercepted the call.
We'll try and get Ben back.
The thing is, when Ange... Do you remember when Ange said... do you not realise the amount of injuries I've got? Like, what... do you not realise the situation we're in? When he said that, we blasted him, including me. You were one of the very few that was actually protective of him when that happened. So if Frank's now going to come and say that, a fan's going to go after Frank and say, hold on a minute, we're not having that, because they never had it for Ange. Ange got zero respite on injuries, none. You were one of very few, Sim, who actually were protective of that. And in the end, you were kind of proven right, in my opinion, because we're in the exact same situation again, and we've got the same injury crisis.
I agree, but the thing is, for me, we weren't able. There were certain things we weren't able to do last season because of the injuries, like maybe press as intensely as we want to, defend anywhere near like we want to, or as well as we can because of who we were playing at the back and how we played definitely contributed to that. But we were playing Gray and Davis at the back and stuff like that, and we're trying to implement our impose ourselves on the game. Sorry,
I think his phone died.
His phone died. Okay, we'll move on then. Let me just get my point out. We were trying to impose ourselves on the game, right? And every time we're getting caught out because every time any attacker essentially is getting on our defence, where they've got the beating of Gray and Davis, and we're just getting opened up, right, like easy. So
yeah.
But it's not. But the thing is, if we were to go more defensive, like let's say, let's protect them. We did that a few times, and we were still getting exploited because Gray and Davis were not good. There was nothing he could do.
It's not really their position.
It's not their position. So, okay, we can drop back, yeah, but that doesn't matter because that's all. What's that going to do? That's going to put more pressure on them because all of a sudden they're going to ask to defend more, right? So we did that a few times, and they were still getting exploited. So I was saying, at that position, there's only so much you can do, and we were still showing like good attacking patterns of play, but we were just getting exploited every time because our defence was dog shit. For a few, Andrew's part of that, but the main reason I would say is because who was playing in those positions. Because once you put Ribeiro and Van der Ven there, yes, we got caught out a few times, but they would cover for that, and they would put out the fires 7 or 8 times out of 10, but they would get caught out those couple of times, and maybe would concede from those couple of times, but at least they had it under control. So the quality defender made a big difference. Now, for me, when it comes to attacking patterns of play, Andrew's playing quality football with the likes of Brian Hill, Brennan Johnson, Ollie Skip. He got these guys playing good football. So when it comes to attacking patterns of play, I don't see how you can put that on injuries because you should be able to coach teams to different movements. And,
no, I agree with that. 100%.
And getting, so when he says,
yes.
So yes, when it comes to defensively, you can say injuries plays a big part of that when it comes to how you press and stuff. But when it comes to how you're setting up a team in possession and how you've got them passing and moving and opening teams up and all this kind of stuff, when he's got, by the way, today starting, he's got Xavi, he's got Gallagher, who he just signed, he's got Solanke on the pitch, obviously Moani came on, he had Odebear, he had Tell. These are talented attacking players who were all capable of passing and moving and putting an attacking style of play,
Kasuma's
right?
technically capable.
Kasuma, right? So I don't understand how we can come out and say, it's the injuries, why we have no... Right, when it comes to defensively, I have more sympathy. When it comes to attacking, why we're going long every time. That's how he coaches
you saw
team.
it. You saw it. The second half, we were attacking.
Yeah.
We can do it. We saw it against Man City for 45 minutes. We can do it. We saw it against Liverpool down to 10 men. We can do it. I agree. What I'm not going to have, and I'm not going to accept it in any conversation or debate, is if Frank is going to say we're losing games because of the injuries, that's fine, but I want the exact same treatment towards Ange. He lost games because of injuries too then, because he had an injury crisis as well. So it can't be one rule for Frank, another one for Ange. If you blame Frank, blame Ange. If you don't blame Frank, then don't blame Ange as well. That's what I'm trying to... That's my point, Sim.
100%. And yeah, look, I have sympathy for Frank, like I do for that with Ange, but I have a lot less sympathy. He does sound Odebear, no injury update yet. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but I don't know what it can be. But I don't know what it can be, of course. I hope it's not serious injury to a 20-year-old.
We've got 12 days to
player.
treat him at least.
Yeah. Let's get Hugo on. Let's see what he's got to say. I'm sure he's got a